Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Danelle and today we are making a healthy, crunchy, single ingredient treat and I'm calling them dog chicken chips. Don't want to have to say that fast, but they're called dog chicken chips. There are two ways to make these, either in the oven or with a dehydrator, and I'm going to show you how to do both. They're perfect for training, for snacking, or for just spoiling your dog. So you ready? Let's get started. All you need is boneless, skinless chicken breast. You can add some turmeric or parsley. Turmeric is a great antioxidant and an anti-inflammatory. And parsley has vitamins K, C, and folate. One thing you want to remember though is you don't ever want to use salt, garlic, or onions in your dog's treats or food because those are very toxic to dogs. The other items that we're using today are a very, very sharp knife. I've got a titanium cutting board that I use because when you're using raw meat, you want to make sure that you have a board there are no pores, and so the meat doesn't get into the board and contaminate it. And the other thing that I'm using are my brand new no cry gloves. I got these gloves because I knew that I was going to be slicing chicken very thinly, and I wanted to make sure that my fingers were not going to be part of the meat. I also pre-cut some meat just to make sure that I knew how to do it because we're cutting it against the grain. And let's see, one more thing that you want to be aware of is that I froze the chicken for about an hour. Actually, I froze mine for about an hour and a half because the more firm the meat is, the easier it is to slice. So I've got my dehydrator and I've got my baking sheet that we're going to use for the oven when we're ready. So I'm going to put my gloves on and we're going to get started. All right, I'm going to start slicing the chicken, and I would suggest that you do it the best way for you, the easiest way for you. The easiest way for me is to start at the thicker end and then slice down. So that's how I'm going to start. And you want to make your cuts 1/8 of an inch. I'm not going to be anal about it. I'm very nervous with a knife regardless. And so I'm going to get as close to 1/8 of an inch as I can, and you do what's comfortable with you in using a knife. And like I said, these are called no cry gloves. And when I put them on, I felt even more confident in using them, that my bare hands were not on the chicken, number one, and number two, I felt that I was able to get a better grip in cutting them. Now, I'm not advertising these gloves. They can be found on Amazon. But the thing is, when I was deciding what I was going to use to cut the chicken, I was thinking that I could use my food processor. And so I said, well, I've got a slicer on my food processor. Let me see if I can slice my chicken using my food processor. And they're all going to come out in different sizes depending upon how the breast is shaped and how thin you cut. So I said, okay, I'm going to use my food processor. But before I decided to do that, I said, let me look on YouTube and see whether or not anyone else has tried to cut or slice chicken with their food processor. So I looked up the brand of the food processor that I have. And wouldn't you know, there was a woman there who was going to grill some thin sliced chicken breast. And she wanted to use her food processor on it. And I tell you, I am so glad that I watched that video, because when she put her chicken through the slicer, I mean, it pulverized it. It pulverized that chicken. I feel so bad for her because I don't know what you could do with it. Maybe you can make chicken salad with it. I mean, it was just like, it was like garbage. It was pulverized. So I'm not sure what she did with it, but that definitely answered my question. And that was, I am not putting my chicken breast in my food processor, whether it has a slicer attachment or not. I did end up looking it up to find out whether or not it is possible, perhaps with other food processors. But what I found out was that food processors don't have the precision that's needed in order to slice soft meats like this, soft meats like that. Yeah, they just don't have. This one turned out weird, but hey, I bet you your dog is going to eat it. So, and I'm going to leave this one as is. So, but yeah, what I learned is that food processors don't have the precision needed to cut meats like chicken or ham or roast beef. They do a great job in shredding, but not such a great job in slicing these pieces. So I'm going to stop here. I have 2 others in the freezer, but I'm going to stop here and I'm going to season them for you. And I'm going to put a few in the oven, and I'm going to put some in my dehydrator. Now, in the oven, I have just set my oven at 200 degrees. And you want to cook them for about 2 to 3 hours, and you want to turn them over halfway through the cook. For the dehydrator, you're going to set, if you have a dehydrator, set it at 165 degrees, and you're going to dehydrate them for about 6 hours, or when they're crunchy. Yeah, dry and crunchy, because you're trying to dry them out before they actually cook. So I'm going to take my gloves off and I will be right back. So I've seasoned all of the chicken with parsley. This is going to go in the oven, and these are going to go in the dehydrator. Now I actually cut 2 more breasts, and those breasts had been in the freezer for about 2 hours maybe, and they cut a lot better than the ones that I had left in there for an hour. So that's something that you're going to have to play with. I just had more of a slicing control when they were firmer. So let's put these in the oven. Remember, you're going to set your oven to 200 degrees for 2 to 3 hours, and then you're going to flip them over at the half-hour mark. So if you're going to go for 3 hours, you're going to flip them over at 1.5 hours. And these are going to go in the dehydrator. And these are going to dehydrate for about an hour, for about 6 hours. (165 degrees), and I'm going to set mine at 6 hours, and I'll check it at the 6-hour mark. The chips are done. These I put in the oven, and these were in the dehydrator. As you can see, the ones that were in the oven are a little thicker than the ones that were in the dehydrator. So what I did to compensate is I added a couple of hours to the ones that were in the oven, because they really need to be crispy. They need to be crisp and dry. So I added 2 hours to the oven, and we started at 3 hours, and I gave it actually 5 hours. And for the ones that were in the dehydrator, we started at 6 hours, and I gave them 2 more hours because I really wanted them to be crispy. And so they dehydrated for a total of 8 hours. And as you can see, the ones that were in the dehydrator are really, really crisp and dry, exactly as they're supposed to be, as are the ones that were in the oven. They're a little thicker cut, but they're still crispy and dry as they should be. So, storage options. You can store these in an airtight container for up to 1 week at room temperature. You can store them 2 to 3 weeks in the refrigerator, or you can store them 2 months in the freezer, whether they were done in the oven or whether they were done in the dehydrator. And I have several options for you. You can either store them in a plastic container like this because you do want to store them in an airtight container, or you can store them in a Ziploc bag, or another option for an airtight container is the glass container. Either of these 3 will actually work. And so that's it. These are crispy, these are crunchy, homemade chicken chips that your dog will absolutely love. Whether they're in the oven or whether they're in the dehydrator, you can't go wrong. If you try this recipe, please drop me a comment and let me know how your dog enjoyed these chips. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you'll know when other dog recipes are coming up. Until next time, see you later.
But he'll pray anytime. Sit. He wants us to sit for him at bedtime, like slow. Just take a nibble. Just take a nibble right here. Slow. Nibble. Nibble. Just a nibble. Good boy.